After this mother saw a note in her son's lunchbox, his teacher got fired the next day. This mom had a smile on her face when she opened her son's school lunchbox. At first, she saw a note that was left for him earlier that day, but then something made her have another look. There was an additional note inside the lunchbox. The note wiped her smile away almost instantly. She wasn't the author of this note. Once she read what it said, she was infuriated. As a mother, she wasn't about to let this go without repercussions. Not a chance. Someone was going to pay. Francesca Easton lived in Texas and was an adoring mom. She knew very well how difficult raising a child can be. Her son's named Kyler. He suddenly developed a few drastic eating habits. It began with him not wanting to eat any green vegetables. Soon after that incident, the list of foods Kyler would eat was getting smaller and smaller quickly. This had made dinner in their home a real challenge. Francesca was getting concerned and realized this spiciness was going too far, and Kyler began gaining unwanted weight. As much as she tried to encourage him to eat other foods, the more he would simply refrain and resist. She knew she was fighting a losing battle if this was going to continue. Every night was a fight to try and convince Kyler into eating what was on his plate. Francesca tried bribery, it didn't help. She decided she wanted to try a new method. She did some digging and tried to find new tactics, ones that would lead to a compromise with her stubborn son. Slowly, she began to add nutritious components into his school lunch. She went to speak to his daycare, Rocking Horse Kingwood, regarding her concerns involving his nutrition habits. She felt as though the staff understood the issue at hand. At least they told her they understood. It soon became evident this wasn't understood. Little did she know that her involvement with the school would actually make things worse and quickly. Each day she wrote a note to her son, a note that encouraged him and put it in his lunch. This was her way of trying to make it easier for him to lose some of his favorite lunch snacks from the usual makeup of his lunchbox. Francesca swapped out crisps and Twinkies for egg salad sandwiches and carrot fingers. He seemed to be making good progress, and Francesca thought it was the beginning of a real change. But it took one inconsiderate and rude teacher to disregard all the effort and progress they'd made. Just as she usually did, Francesca gathered the goodies and made his lunch the night before. She truly made an effort to make the food look tasty and present it well. She wanted him to be enthusiastic. On this specific day, she made a whole grain ham sandwich, cherry tomatoes, and a few apple slices for lunch. She stopped and remembered it was already the middle of the week, so a treat would certainly not hurt. And it's good to have a treat every once and again, right? She then wrote a cute little note, and this would soon be the core of the issue at hand. She wrote on a small piece of paper, "Please tell Kyler his mommy loves him so much and I'm thinking about him." The note was supposed to be read to Kyler at lunchtime with the teacher's help. It wasn't an unusual request, quite frankly. Little did his mom know that it would trigger a poisonous experience. When Kyler arrived home from school, she was aware he wasn't as talkative as usual. At first, she brushed it off. She certainly didn't think her adoring and innocent note would lead to such a terrible reaction from his teacher. When she opened the lunchbox, she instantly saw the terrible remark made by the teacher. As Francesca read the thick black letter, she was honestly in disbelief. This was an unusual twist for this dedicated and hard-working mom. What was the purpose of it anyway? Francesca read the note over and over again until she made some sort of sense of it. The note started an emotional ride for this mother. We can only imagine. She felt ashamed and somewhat humiliated. After those emotions hit, she was suddenly overcome with rage. Francesca calmed herself down and proceeded on to the next course of action. It was crystal clear the teacher needed to be let go. She was going to make sure of it. Francesca uploaded the photo of the atrocious note to Facebook. It went viral in almost no time. Parents in her community and all around the globe expressed their opinions in utter disgust at how a teacher could have written and done such a thing. The public were angry, and they were going to lash out at Rocking Horse Kingwood Elementary School. Would the daycare be able to recover from such bad backlash that was being pinpointed at the facility? Francesca was well aware she needed to do more than simply go public with what had happened. That's not all. This terrible teacher had something to add to the note that she'd left. What could possibly be worse? She'd already said no, put him on a diet and go away. What had even compelled a teacher to do such a thing? The teacher hadn't only refused to read the message, but had blatantly laid an attack on the child. Before continuing, it must be noted that Francesca's generally a mild-mannered individual who avoids drama and goes about her business as usual. But this was her breaking point. Francesca decided to do a little research. She checked the Facebook profile of the horrid teacher. She was relieved to find her profile security settings were public. She was simply hoping to get a little dirt on the daycare teacher, nothing too intense, but instead she hit the jackpot. The teacher's feed was filled with posts that would only back up Francesca's case, a totally incriminating feed. Francesca was armed and ready. Besides this, the post Francesca had posted had already gotten 2,000 reactions and had been shared over 1,000 times. People were truly in disbelief that a teacher could act in such a spiteful manner and with such immaturity. Some individuals made the valid point that this was also considered body shaming. This concept is bad on its own, never mind when a 5-year-old boy's the victim. Just wait till you see what Francesca found on Facebook. On the teacher's personal account Facebook profile, she saw a post that projected and related to very inappropriate behavior involving substance abuse. Once she received more intel into the true nature of this teacher, she was even more mad. Francesca had set up a meeting with a daycare director for these reasons. She was certainly not letting this woman walk away scot-free for what she'd done. Now, whose side would the daycare be on? Francesca met with the director and then took to Facebook to let her friends and those following know the post what the outcome was. She wrote, "I was assured that it was being investigated and handled, yet almost no remorse was shown. I also brought to their attention the fact that on his teacher's public Facebook page there were mass posts regarding drug use and other very inappropriate content." As the post went on, Francesca was sure to explain what she'd said. "The teacher that wrote this note confessed while I was at work and was fired, but nothing has been done about the other situations," she explained through her Facebook post. She continued, "Zero remorse for their actions. I'm disgusted that I put my trust in these people to care for my child and this is what I get in return. I've removed Kyler from this daycare and am enrolling him in a beautiful new facility," Francesca continued. A few Facebook users weren't following the situation, so Francesca was smart to include a little history and extra information. "We've been working with Kyler on his eating. He's extremely picky. I've been introducing new healthy options in his lunchbox and discussed the changes with his school. And for the record, I feel that Kyler's absolutely perfect the way he is. I'm just helping him make healthier choices. Instead of his school being supportive, I'm in absolute shock at what happened," she continued. "I sent this note in Kyler's lunchbox thinking it would make him smile at lunchtime, but instead, I received this in return from a teacher. Of course, I was absolutely livid and immediately reached out to the school," she explained. Her Facebook community was happy to hear the teacher was fired instantly. However, they had more questions. One individual responded to her post saying, "I can't believe a teacher would write something like this. It's appalling. Your son doesn't even the slightest bit need to be put on a diet. And even if he did, writing a note like that's immature, inappropriate, and just ignorant." Another Facebook user had something very valid to say. "I cannot believe someone actually wrote this. I'm so sorry that you've gone through this, and I will certainly tell everyone I know about this experience. I'm worried about the higher cost, but I'll make it work no matter what I have to do. Kyler's safety and level of care comes first. Sorry for the long post, but I feel it's so important to share this," Francesca told her followers. She further explained, "I'm extremely hands-on with my child's care and still didn't see this coming. Monitor your daycares closely and stay away from this facility. They do not deserve the privilege of teaching our children."